Woo-wee, what's going on, YouTube? Oh, it's Donnie B all day. I got cats running around, man. So, here's the deal. It's time we get into this Mora. It's called the Morakniv Companion Spark, and we'll get into why. I have all the specs listed right there. Now, this knife, the reason I picked this up, because if you've watched my channel, everybody knows I'm not a big Mora fan, right? I had a couple. One I broke because that cheap tang, and one I chunked up the blade a little bit on the edge. But I saw this one, and this was one of 2022's Knives of the Years in one of the categories. So I figured, why not? It might be just worth the look. So let's get into this. So this is the Companion Spark, all right? And it's typical Mora, Scandi grind, you know what I mean? Swedish made. Is that 2.5 millimeters? 2.5 millimeters. But what makes this one special, the sheath is plastic. I was waiting for some special word. But no, it's just plastic, and it says made in Sweden right about there. But it works. It does the job. They have water drainage holes, which I always appreciate on some kind of plastic or Kydex sheath. But here's why they call it the Spark. You see this little window over here? Boop. You pull that out, and you have a ferro rod. Now, I haven't used this ferro rod yet, so there we go. It still had some of the coating on there, but of course, 90-degree spine, it's going to strike that spark every time. Now, the way this works is you just have this little cavity right here. You push it in, and then there's this, and it just locks right in. That becomes part of the grip. It's integral, so you can slide your hand on it and it won't fall down. My concern is, what if you're moving and you're not, see that? If you are using this knife and let's say it's wet or you're just doing something and you're pulling, if you have to pull and it's stuck on something, then you have to worry about that coming out. Luckily, it can only come out that direction, not that direction. So if it does come out, worst case scenario, you're left with this in your hand and this is still stuck in whatever it's stuck in. So you're really not going to get hurt. So is it a concern? Not really. That's just one of those gotta mention it things. But I don't think that would ever play into anything. All right, so total length, 8.7 inches long. The blade length, let's get you guys a good look there. The blade length is 4.2 inches. The blade thickness, like we said, is 2.5 millimeter. It only weighs 136 grams, which is 4 ounces. It's really light. And what causes the weight mainly is this. That's it, right? The steel is a very good Sandvik 12C27 with a Rockwell hardness 56 to 58. It has an ABS grip, which is good against shocks and stuff like that. I've just never been a fan of them. Now, with the softer Rockwell, I think that's how I chunked up my old edge. It's just not as hard as some of the other ones. Now, I know, unless I flip this video around, it's going to be backwards, but you get what it is. You can just see the name, made in Sweden, all that jazz. All right, so it is a bushcraft knife, right? This isn't your regular EDC. This is your take it to the bush, process your food, get your fires started, all that kind of jazz knife. Is it your chopping knife? Obviously not. Can you, in an emergency, do light chopping to do like tips on spears and things like that? We'll most likely do that. But basically, this is going to be something you can skin with, you can light fires with, so you could process kindling with, all that jazz, and it can be your camp food knife. Ooh, cutting up your stuff. And I think we're actually going to start with that. I have to cook a little something later, so what I want to do is I have these big fat hot dogs and I need to cut them up into smaller pieces. Let's do that. All right, so now normally for tasks like this when I'm cutting, I use my Cutco knife. Stupid cat jumping all over. I gotta get rid of that. I use the Cutco, and it works awesome on all of my like food prep type stuff. It's made by K-Bar, and it's kind of in the dark, but you can see this thing is awesome, man. Cutco makes a really good knife, made in Orleans, New York. And yesterday, as a matter of fact, I cooked some ribeyes and I shaved them down, and I used this guy right here, the Off-Grid Stinger XL. This thing, damn cats. This thing was great for it. And it's funny because I had a comment from a guy who says, oh, spear point, you know, swedged blade, blah, blah, blah. It's nothing good for stabbing and that's it. And you can't use it for anything? Really? I don't know. It processes one hell of a steak. Bet you didn't think about that, buddy. So here we go. Let's get into this. Now I know the light's probably not that great. First, we want to find out how sharp it is. Let's see. Don't worry, I'm not going to cut my wrists. Oh, man. I mean, it is a Mora. I tell you guys I'm not a fan of Moras, but only because I'm not a fan of the tang. And, you know, I've had a couple that just chunked up on me. I thought they were kind of weak. But it is absolutely shaved, freaking sharp. I know I need to throw the hair away and wipe down this blade since I just used it on myself. Absolutely shave sharp. That's one good thing about a Mora that I will never, ever not disclose. They come sharp. These things are ready to cut. So these hot dogs are massive. These are big hot dogs. It's 100% beef, yada, yada, yada. So what we want to do is just process the meat, because if you're out in the field, and I'm sorry I don't have any carcasses around, you're going to have to process your food, right? And you want to know if it's going to be able to cut through meat with no hesitation. Now, was there a little bit of drag? Yeah, I can feel a little bit of drag, but it's because it's a Scandi and it gets fat right here. You know what I mean? It goes from, it's a flat Scandi. So right here to here is a huge difference. So as you cut, you can feel it. But once you cut through and you have to slice, like skinning type stuff, it's like a breeze, right? It's just that initial go through because of the thickness change. It's abrupt in the change of thickness. So right here, we will just slice this down the middle, and we're going to give ourselves a bunch of slivers like that. So to answer the question, can you use it to process food? I'm obviously not going to finish all of this right here, right now, because it will be the most boring video in history. But that's that. So let me finish this and clean it off. So how did it do? It did pretty good. Now, if I showed you that and stuck with that the entire time, we're about to go outside, by the way, and cut some real stuff, you guys would be watching it and going, worst video ever. And you'd have been right. So let me put this away. All right, so now that we're out here in the sunshine, let's get a good look at the red and black configuration. Now, it does come in different colors. You can get them in all black, red, black, possibly green, black. I have no idea. But I know that they do have different colors. And I mean, I'd like to say it's not a bad looking knife, but I don't know. I don't think they're attractive. I really don't. So let's start with some basic cutting right here. All right. No problem. No problem. No problem. I get a little bit of drag. I have to say, like with the hot dog cuts, the Cutco cuts better and smoother and cleaner than this on the hot dog cuts. But I mean, was this designed to just cut hot dogs? No, it's designed to do a lot of field work and stuff. So I can't say, oh, this knife isn't as good because it didn't do as good of a job cutting hot dogs as something that's designed to cut things like hot dogs. So yeah, we're not gonna let that be the tell-all. All right, so let's do a couple of 4-foot drops, 4 feet from the tip to the stump. We're just going to test the balance. Now it should, it did drop pretty steady. I was going to say with the weight in the rear, there you go. It should tip a little bit, and it does. You can see it pull, but that's exactly how it's supposed to because that's where it's weighted. Let's do a couple hard downward throws. We'll see if this comes loose or we get any tip bending. It's really light, and with the weight to the rear, it's hard to throw. But man, you can see I got a nice hard push out of it. Not so bad. There's obviously the one good thing they do is they do leave their tips nice and chunky. So it's a good fat tip. That Scandi comes together nice. You still have a really needle sharp pokey tip, but you got a lot of meat right before it. So the chances of you bending it are pretty slim. Let's try a push cut. We'll bring you guys a little bit closer. Get a little bit closer. Don't be shy. All right, here we go. So let's try a simple push cut on a 1/2-inch nylon rope. Ugh, wow. All right, so it shaved, but look at this. Now, with a good knife, I can literally press. Now, I have a very used edge in my pocket because I have had this for a long time. This is my CRKT Fossil. I wonder. So, with the same amount of power, I was able to rip through on a very used edge on my CRKT Fossil that's been in my pocket all day that I've already used 3 times. So, and this is an old edge. That was really surprising. I actually thought it was going to breeze through. I literally thought that was going to be one of the easiest push cuts ever. And it wasn't. It sucked. That was actually terrible. That was terrible. All right, well, I did not expect that. Let's try to get through the extension cord. Now remember, this is not a chopper, so the momentum I'm going to get might not be enough to cut through it, but we'll see what kind of dent it puts in the wires and if it does anything to the edge. There we go. I missed the first one. The second one, I don't even think I got to any of the cable. Let's see. I think I got some there. Okay. Let's see. I got all the way through the cable, so now I'll just push through the rubber, finish it off. All right, now, is there any edge chunking? No, there's 0 damage to the edge, which there shouldn't be. It's copper wire, right? All right, so this is where this knife is made to shine. Outdoors, doing stuff like bushcraft stuff and getting your fires going. Man, I'm having a hard time keeping them on there. Now, with this Scandi grind, what I'm finding is because the edge is the angle, instead of being able to lay it down, you have to come up because the difference in the gauge there. So I have to say, while I thought this was going to be like the best feather stick knife, it makes it harder because you have to go at such an angle that you're not getting these really tight, close curls. You're pushing the blade into the wood. So I might have to do some pulls to see if I can get them tighter. Let's see how that works. Or I can just utilize the edge. Let me get rid of some of that stuff. Yeah, the knife just wants to dive in. Like you're getting feathers, but really big, thick ones. I mean, here we go. If I just do little tiny curls, like getting long ones is much harder with this knife than I really guessed it would have been. And this isn't me being critical, because I actually came into this one thinking, all right, hey, I finally found a Mora I think I'm really going to like. I was kind of excited about this one. Let's see. Yeah, it's really hard, man. The edge geometry wants to take off a lot more material, and you can see it happening. I'm not bull crapping you guys. It wants to take off more than I want it to take off. All right, so let's knock off some of the stuff that's been on there. Now, it's been raining. I want to do a little fire, but a lot of the stuff is wet. Luckily, that kind of thing is dry. But let's do we're gonna do some baby chops, because that's the only kind of chopping you do with a knife like this, and it's just to save you time on carving. You kind of just bang a lot of it like this, and that way, if you need to make a spear or an arrow or a tent spike or a pit spike for protecting your camp, it just takes away some of the time of carving a lot of big chunky wood. Now that we have all that chunked out, carving this is going to be a lot easier. It just gave me a really good platform. So now you can see I can actually carve. Carving a tip is going to be pretty easy with this knife because of the fact that it wants to take off so much material. It's just diving right in. Diving right in. So am I going to be able to sharpen a stick to a point to make myself things for protection or hunting or anything like that? Absolutely. That's not going to be a problem. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to just chunk all that and put that in a pile, because we're going to light it on fire. And I'm going to show you my my go-to that I bring every camp. no matter what, I always have some with me, and it's my main fire starter, and I'm going to show you. But before we do that, all right, and it does rip through a tire pretty easy. So you got a bad ex, you don't like them anymore, they screwed you over and you want to get back at them, hey, you got a Mora. All right, so my number one bring along for camp always is cotton balls. Cotton just goes right up. It's really easy to get fire started with cotton. You put it underneath all your stuff, and then you just let the cotton do the work. Cotton and no bowl, Vaseline. Vaseline, you can get just about anything lit with a little bit of Vaseline. You go get one of those little trial bottles, fits right into your pack. Boom, bada boom, bada bing. I was looking for my ferro rod, I forgot. It's attached. All right, so let's get this guy going here. And I like the fact that the coating on here came off really super easy. So as you can see, the fire gets started quite simply, quite easily with just a little cotton. And if you say, oh, but yeah, but what if you don't have cotton? Well, I'm saying when I go out and I do my camps, I bring it with me always. So there is no what if you don't have it. I'm just saying for me personally, if you don't have it, all right, yeah, now you got to shave this kind of stuff a lot thinner and make yourself a fire by using fluff, right? Not that hard. You can do it. This is just way easier, way faster. All right, so this knife so far, I mean, there's reasons I don't like Moras, and some of these reasons are coming to fruition. And I really, really wanted to like this Mora. Like, I came in today thinking this is going to be that day where D-Bad says, I finally found a Mora that I like. I really thought today was going to be that day. Does it light a fire? Absolutely. Is that what this one is made for shaving wood and lighting a fire? Absolutely. It's exactly what it's made for. Feather sticking, can you do it? Obviously. It's just these angles just make it so, I don't know, it's just not as nice as like another blade. Like if I took this one and said, okay, I need to get thin curls, look at this. It's because this blade lays down, I'm able to get these really nice, I'm dropping some, these really nice long curls. I don't have to get those little swedges. I can make beautiful, beautiful long curls really thin. You see the difference? That's a huge, huge difference. And that's not me faking it. You just watched me do it. And the good thing about those lighter curls is they light easier. So when it comes down to if you don't have stuff like cotton balls, having a knife where the edge profiling allows you to make really tight little curls is your best bet. Can you get little tight curls? I bet you there's a lot of people that probably can, but once you start, you know, you got to learn those edge profiles. You know what I mean? You got to really get in. Let's see if I can see if I lay it down flat, right? The edge doesn't touch the wood. Look at this. That's laying it down to where I would normally want to lay it down to get really thin ones. So now if I really like, let's see. It's a little bit hard. It wants to dig in. And right here you go. That's a nice one. Took me a little while, but hey, I got a nice curl. It just didn't happen very easily, right? So, and you see it, bam, as soon as the fire hits it, it goes up. So can you get those really nice light curls? Yeah, you can. It's just harder. And you shouldn't have to work so hard and really concentrate on your angles when I know I can pick up another knife and not even concentrate and just, boom, get them all right there that easy. It's, I don't know, man. I really, really was, had high hopes for this knife. I really wanted it to be great. And who knows, maybe it is great. You know, and I just haven't found its highest potential yet. But I know it's made to light fires, and light fires it definitely does. It did shave the hair off my arm quite easily, but it wouldn't cut through the rope. Let's see, we got 4 layers of leather belt here. Let's see. Let's see. And it was easy. It was easy. It's so weird. That's an anomaly to me. It cuts easily this way, but not this way. And that surprises me because it's a wedge. That means it should be cutting easily that way. I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to bash it when it's doing what I want it to do, but it's easy for me to bash it when it's doing it what I want it to do, not all the time. You know what I mean? Moras are tough for me. Moras are tough for me. I thought this was going to be the exception. So far, it is not the exception. So far, it is exactly as it. Look at that. Look at that. It scored it, but it wouldn't cut through. I'm going to have to press harder. The other knives, look, I just pressed. Guys, I come out here and do this all the time, and I have knives just rip right through, and I say some knives can't do that. And normally that's what I do is I put the tip on, and I drag it, and I let it cut through. I'm going to have to push it. Look. All right, so I don't know. Look at the tearing. See how these fibers, I don't know if you can see it, but these fibers are not clean. They're not cut, they're torn, right? And there we go, that's a better cut right there. And I'm not like making it do that because I wouldn't know how to do that anyway. Let's see if this one will do it. CRKT. Now I'm gonna do the same thing. And this one's a used edge. That one did the same thing where it scored it. Oh no, yeah, it did go through right here, look. So it scored it, but it scored it better. It actually, there we go, ripped through. But it's just, it feels, even with a crappy edge, an untouched edge, it kind of almost was equal to the Mora that's supposed to have this phenomenal edge, and the Mora edge is brand spanking new. All right, so let's not go too far. So now let's try skinning. We're gonna go straight through the soccer ball and see how that goes. And that was simple. And it, man, I don't know, man. So it's weird. It's like some things it goes through well and some things it doesn't. The profiling, while I think it looks great, it just doesn't work great. I don't know, you guys, let me know what you guys think about Moras. There's some people out there that absolutely swear by them. And my very first Mora that I got, I was so excited because I heard all this great stuff about Moras. Oh, they're this, they're that, they're that. And then I broke it because the tang was only right there. Pressed on it too hard and it broke. And I said, well, okay, well, that sucks. I'm going to try again because maybe I just got a faulty one. So then the next one I got, I was working with it and I was going through and I hit some little knots doing some processing. And boom, there goes my edge. It was just completely folded in different spots. And that's at that point when I said, okay, screw Moras, you know. And then I said, okay, it's time to try again. It's time to right the wrong. And all these people that keep telling me, no, Moras, you go, blah, 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 but Moras are great. And I listened to them and I said, okay, well, Moras are great. Well, let me tell you guys, I don't think Moras are great. I really don't. I mean, I'm looking at this edge. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see it. But normally when you look at an edge, you're supposed to see this really nice polished line, right? And for some reason, up here, it's not smooth. It's not even. There's like when you move it in the sun, I don't know if it's going to pick it up at all. So, but when you move it in the sun, you can see like what looks like it would be warping, but it's not warped. I don't know what's going on. Maybe that's part of the issue. But I can actually feel it with my finger that it's not completely smooth and even right here. Yeah, so one of 2022 knives of the year. So far, I bought 3 knives that were on the 2022 top knives lists, right? I bought that little Schrade, the CHR whatever 57, and that thing, I have to say, was a huge disappointment. Didn't like it at all. Just, it was tiny and dull and it just didn't work for me. And then I tried this one, and while it's not dull for by any means is not dull. I wonder if it's still shave sharp. And it's still cutting hair. Still cutting hair. So this is just a weird one. It cuts some things well. It cuts other things not well. It's I don't know, man. It's a huge fail. I do like the fact that the 90-degree spine has that, and it's going to throw a spark every time. And that's going to be like the save-all right there on a knife like this. But, I mean, if you use Moras constantly, you're probably used to that weird edge geometry. So you probably like it. But if you're a new knife guy or somebody who's used, like, other knives, like fillet knives and things like that, or like an Essie, you're going to pick this up and you're going to go to do things that you do with your normal knife, and it's not going to be the same, and you're going to go, well, that's kind of crappy. I don't know. To me, this is I don't know, man. I hate the fact that I want to say it's a fail, because it's not a fail. It just failed somewhere, but other places it was good. I just don't think one of them will ever make me a fan. There's another one. There's one more Mora that's out there that I like. And I think it might have a longer tang, and it's a little bit bigger blade. And someday maybe I'll try that, because I got to find me a winner. I got to find a Mora that I can appreciate. So far, I'm having a lot of trouble doing that. All right, this one's been going on far too long. It is what it is. At least there's that and that. Right on. Hi, I'm Donnie B all day. Until next knife.